Well, we have Jeff Parker here from Friday to Monday. Here we are, and we had a lot to discuss on Friday, and well, that's an old story now. We've got new stuff with COVID-19. And there's been some changes, but nonetheless, welcome.
Well, thank you, and good morning to everybody on bright Monday. Is a nice morning to wake up to. You can go out for your walk if you can do that in the morning. Cooler temperatures, like you mentioned, so that's kind of the falls in the air.
I'm even seeing the trees change too, and I swear I don't think I remember seeing them so much of a change. So it's really pretty out.
Yeah, it is very pretty, and it's certainly Thanksgiving time.
Yes.
Definitely. So yeah, we have a number of COVID updates for you in the sense of numbers. And as we're seeing throughout the state, Orange County is obviously still increasing numbers. So we're at 552 reported yesterday. Unfortunately, 3 deaths. Those deaths were in residential living areas, so not in skilled nursing and not in assisted living. So that means it's hitting our normal population, let's say. So again, the quest to be careful on that 552, I did want to mention. But the good news, I guess, is it slowed down a little bit, because on Friday, after we talked on Friday, the number came in at 1,169 cases Friday afternoon.
What?
So we hit a big jump. You know, we were in that 500, 600 average, and it jumped up to over 1,000 on that Friday.
Wow. So
that's kind of scary. The one I wanted to point out was the 380 in the hospitalizations and the 91 in the COVID in the ICU relative to COVID, and I think that's important because back 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago when we were talking, and we had seen a little bit of rise even 2 weeks ago, but we were in 200 hospitalizations, so we're up 180 compared to 2 weeks ago, and that's certainly that's a concern for everybody. And when they talk about cases that are currently in ICU with regards to using the capacity of that ICUs and everything, that's really kind of critical. So that's the negative news, I guess. And a lot of people are getting tested. Look at that tested reported day, 19,000 people are getting tested.
Wow.
I think that's what,
a lot more folks.
If you see it on TV, people are going every which way to get tested. A lot of the reasons is they're either hosting a family this weekend, or they're going somewhere, or thinking about it. I saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Dodger Stadium, which has been doing a big one. I mean, they were like traffic jam for hours just waiting to get in. But it's a good news that people are getting tested, because that really does help understand where it's going, how it's being transmitted, and who's transmitting it. So that's
exactly. And I think that the discussion really has been, we don't want to overwhelm our health system, and that's really what's been the discussion the entire time.
Exactly.
So now we're seeing numbers that are higher, which means health systems will be impacted at some point. Do you happen to know, are a lot of these numbers, are they sporadic or spread across the county, or are they more of a North County, South County? Are you aware of any of that?
Yeah, we do know that when you look at these numbers, and that third number there, the red one, that 5.5 is that health quartile. That really is a average, whereas if you took the positivity rate, which is 4.6 for the whole county, and then you see that 5.5, what's the difference? Well, what they've been looking at is there are certain areas, certain zones, and I'll use zip codes, and they use census tracts and everything like that are higher in Orange County, in North Orange County, in the highly populated areas of Anaheim, Westminster, Santa Ana. So we do know that there are pockets that have much higher COVID numbers than what we do here in the Village, or what we do here in Laguna Woods, or even in South Orange County per se. A few hot spots in South Orange County, but South Orange County's done pretty well, I would say. Unfortunately, we're still way up there on the cases per 100,000 at 10.8 on an average, which that's what put us up into the purple zone. So we got to get that down to under 8. And that's going to take a little while.
I think so.
Given the numbers that we're seeing out there.
Right.
So,
and like you said, more people are being more proactive in being tested, which then could result in a higher number of cases, even though, because they were talking about, well, even though you may not have symptoms, you still could have COVID-19.
It could be that we see more cases. Of course, hopefully the counter is the when you start to look at the average of that 100,000 population. But certainly, the more you test, the more cases you get, it could potentially keep that number up there for a while.
Right, right, wow. Yeah, still a lot of mystery, around the coronavirus, and once you go into the disease being COVID-19, I mean, it's really still up, a lot of mystery around it.
I think the one thing that is kind of disconcerting for the community out there is that with the state trying to do as much as they can to try to control this. And I'm not sure that even with the medical profession, it's like wearing your mask all the time, wash your hands, and being socially distanced. It's working, they know it works, but to what level does it work?
Right.
And so I think that's really the challenge. I mean, you and I were talking about the fact that, okay, state says, okay, let's have a curfew from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Is that curfew going to have a fundamental change with COVID-19? Because obviously COVID-19 doesn't know what time it is. It's moving and shaking all the time, right?
Right.
So, but I think what it really is trying just to reduce the interaction of people and slow that down. And
Right.
hopefully that slowing down is going to. I read a very interesting article last night, the correlation between the Spanish flu in 1911 and where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
They went through the same thing in Thanksgiving period, where they saw a spike go up prior to Thanksgiving and right after Thanksgiving, because people were basically saying, we're going to gather, we're
Right.
going to get together. So
Yes.
I think what the CDC and the state and all of the states pretty much are saying, hey, if you can restrict that travel, if you can restrict having big gatherings at Thanksgiving, do that. We announced on Friday's blast that Zoom, which is one way people can communicate, especially with families that are out of state. They used to have a limit on the amount of time that you could be on a Zoom call. Now they've waived that for the holidays,
good.
so people can be on Zoom.
I
for
did not
longer.
know that. That's
Yeah.
a great
So we
piece
put
of
that out in the
information.
blast, so there's
Okay.
information about that in the blast. So.
Yeah.
And that's nice, because obviously people want to see each other and people want to talk to
Right.
each other, and
Right.
it should be a festive time in a sense, but
Exactly.
it is kind of right now controlled and making it a little difficult to communicate.
It is, but thank goodness for that technology that we are able to communicate with one another, because if we didn't have it, where would we be? I mean, I guess you could
lot
still
of
call
phone
on the
calls.
phone, you could still do that, but it's kind of nice to be able to see them,
Absolutely.
So I'm certainly thankful for that technology, so that is awesome.
Absolutely. And one of the other things I wanted to mention, which is not COVID, it's COVID driven maybe a little bit, is I want to again mention that out at Restaurant 19 is doing Thanksgiving. So again, on our website and on the blast, we gave the information out about how you could order your Thanksgiving dinner from them.
Oh, good, and that was a to-go thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so still, if that's something that interests you, to our community, avail yourself to that, because that's good for us too, and good for the community to have it here, local,
Right.
and have a good service like that.
Right, although it's really hard to say I'm not going to cook my turkey at home because all day it smells so good in your house.
Well, maybe there are just going to be fewer people there, but you can still go ahead and
Maybe you can light
great leftovers.
You can light a turkey candle,
Yeah.
and then you can have the whole day, and then you can have your food and not have to worry about cleanup.
There you go.
Yeah, because that's always the biggest problem. But anyway, all right. Well, thank you for the information, and we won't be seeing you this Friday.
Right.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you so much, and you too, and to the community out there, stay safe and be good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back with Sue Margolis and a United Update. Stay tuned.